Nangale Bibere de parler de l'influence de l'océan sur le temps et le climat. Voilà un communiqué qui a d'ailleurs été diffusé par le ministre des Transports qui porte à la connaissance de l'opinion publique que le Cameroun, de concert avec la communauté internationale, célèbre la journée météorologique mondiale le 23 mars 2021 sous le thème l'océan, le temps et le climat. Cette journée commémore l'entrée en vigueur le 23 mars 1950 de la Convention instituant l'Organisation météorologique mondiale et met en valeur la contribution essentielle des services météorologiques et hydrologiques nationaux à la sécurité et au bien-être des populations dans le monde entier. Le thème de cette année met en exergue l'influence de l'océan sur le temps et le climat. À propos, justement, je vous propose d'écouter le ministre des Transports, Jean-Ernest Masséna-Gallet-Bibere, au micro de l'île Piedjou.
L'océan est aussi un moteur majeur de l'économie mondiale, supportant pour sa part plus de 90% du commerce mondial et soutenant les 40% de l'humanité qui vivent à moins de 100 km de la côte. Il stocke ainsi plus de 90% de la chaleur excédentaire générée par les activités humaines. Conscience de cela, les services météorologiques et hydrologiques nationaux et les chercheurs, pour leur part, surveillent régulièrement l'océan et son évolution, modélisant ses effets sur l'atmosphère et fournissant une grande variété des services maritimes, y compris le soutien à la gestion côtière et à la sauvegarde de la vie en mer. Aujourd'hui, les impacts croissants du changement climatique rendent les observations, la recherche et les services océaniques plus critiques que jamais. D'un autre côté, la pandémie Covid-19 provoque des bouleversements sans précédent et change considérablement les vies des populations. Mais c'est aussi l'occasion de réfléchir à la manière dont nous pouvons faire davantage pour préserver l'environnement et la planète et éviter au mieux le ralentissement économique.
Voilà, pour ceux qui nous prennent à l'instant, vous venez d'écouter le ministre des Transports, Jean-Ernest Masséna-Gallet-Bibere, dans un extrait sélectionné par l'île Piedjou et Calvin Tekam. Et la suite de l'actualité, Paul Ebalé, habitant du quartier centre commercial à Saint-Mélima, n'est plus. Son corps a été découvert baignant dans une mare de sang. Les faits sont troublants et l'on s'interroge sur la nature de sa mort. Samuel Baïra et Manu Kweta.
Un jour sombre pour les habitants du quartier centre commercial à Saint-Mélima. Paul Koumou Ebalé est découvert mort à l'aube de la journée. Le visage couvert de sang, près de sa dépouille, une bouteille cassée. Il paraît qu'il allait puiser de l'eau à la source, comme il le faisait d'habitude, très tôt.
On vivait ça, on vivait nous deux à la maison. Ma mère restait plus au village, elle vient souvent nos fois nous rendre ici. On était à la maison hier. Tôt le matin, je suis parti chez une amie, comme maman avait dit que je dois aller prendre l'argent là-bas. Quand il revient, on me dit qu'on me cherche. Il est ici là, couché.
Quelques traces ont été repérées sur le chemin qu'il aurait emprunté. La police a ouvert avec diligence une enquête et le corps a été déposé à la morgue.
Et la suite de l'actualité, c'est dans la localité d'Andek, dans la région du nord-ouest Cameroun. C'est avec vous, Henri Kedjan.
Yes, thanks, Junior. We begin in Andek, where the mayor of Andek in the Momo division of the northwest region of Cameroon has called on civil servants in the subdivision to return to their duty posts. The mayor actually explained most of the civil servants, including service heads, are running personal errands in towns and other metropolises in the name of insecurity. Now we have details of this report with curls from our Northwest Regional Bureau correspondent, Annie Collins and Joy Ngong.
Most government services implanted in Yi subdivision in Momo division of the Northwest region are presently without workers, especially service heads. The mayor of the Andek Council, Ubango Heli, has made a fervent appeal on the service heads and their workers to return and
mix-up. I think there is just an error there. But we just continue with this news now in politics, where the Social Democratic Front's first national vice chair, Joshua Osei, has said he's not concerned with the recent decision ousting him from the Littoral Bureau. Joshua Osei's supposed dismissal comes after the series of unworthy actions, according to a letter signed by the regional chair, Jean-Michel Nietzsche. But analysts actually say that the feud between the two is as a result of the announced outing of the national chairman that is creating a power tussle. Details with Regina Leketandike.
There are many reasons why SDF's Littoral Bureau is kicking first national vice president Joshua Osei out of the Littoral chapter. According to these communiques signed by the Littoral president Jean-Michel Nietzsche, Joshua Osei faulted at several levels, and citing Article 8.2 of the party's constitution, he was no longer fit to be a member of the opposition party. The Littoral Bureau denounced the former presidential candidate for congratulating President Biya for his 2018 victory when the SDF party as a body did not appreciate the conduct of the polls. The Bureau also criticized Honorable Osei for eventually attending the swearing-in ceremony after the polls and found him guilty of single-handedly appending his signature on a CPDM majority-led letter to U.S. senators. While many agree Osei's actions were inappropriate, many believe it is more about a war of succession following Frundi's recent declaration to step down as national chairman.
Honorable Joshua Osei was the party's last candidate for the presidential elections, and you will bear with me that the results were devastating. But Joshua Osei has demonstrated leadership skills as a young politician.
Others say the decision by the Littoral Bureau sends a strong message on the need to toe party lines.
Equally send a message to those who have been thinking or those who have been maneuvering other political parties, and why not that maybe a precedent can be drawn from what the SDF has done, that it is capable of sanctioning members who don't hold in line.
Joshua Osei is yet to officially respond to his dismissal from the Littoral Bureau, what some members describe as self-exclusion, judging from his actions. But his surrogates say dismissing Osei is unbinding, as the said Article 8.2 is applied rather from above and not at the regional level.
And in other crisis news, crisis continue plaguing the Cameroon National Youth Council. The council is now operating in two factions, that headed by Fadimatu and another headed by Andrea Marie Dibamu. Now, while they all claiming legitimacy, Fadimatu says that the Bureau is, the Bureau is violating the constitution of the National Youth Council. That is the outing of Dibamu. Well, in another part, Fadimatu says that Dibamu lacks the competence of taking decisions on behalf of the National Youth Council. We have details with our Yaoundé Bureau correspondent Hyson Cheer.
Tension on the rise at the Cameroon National Youth Council. Power tussle between the national president, Fatimatu Iya Ousmanu, and the regional delegate for the center, Andre Marie Dibamu. According to Andre Marie Dibamu, there has been a gross violation of the laws of the council by the present executive, making the organ a shadow of itself. Elected in 2018, he insists the council has never met even once, whereas the law stipulates at least one meeting per year. The elected bureau, made up of 7 members, was to be completed to 10 persons, but 3 years after, that is yet to be done. The Secretary General of the Council, who died in 2019, has not been replaced. Same with the Treasurer, who had long resigned, but surprisingly, the post till date is still vacant. Basing on these arguments, he took upon himself to organize an extraordinary General Assembly on March 15, disregarding Fatimatu's bureau and tagging it as illegitimate. An action which didn't sound well in the ears of Fatimatu, whose outing emphasized that Dibamu got no competence to summon a General Assembly meeting. Where is the Minister of Youth and Civic Education in this ping-pong game? It is obvious Monona Fosso is in Fatimatu's camp. The Minister, the National Executive Bureau and the regional delegate held a consultation meeting this Monday to address issues plaguing the council, a meeting Dibamu and his followers were not part of. And asked why they boycotted the crisis meeting, the Central Regional Delegate says they were not formally notified of such a meeting. As the battle continues, it is worth noting that the present National Executive Council at this juncture is supposed to be preparing an enabling atmosphere for the next elections, expected to take place this April 2021, as the Constitution demands.
Well, thanks very much, Hyacinth Chair, reporting there. And of course, we move to Ngaoundéré, that is in the Adamawa, where COVID-19 is, or there are people are stepping up the fight against COVID-19 in the varsity milieu. Junior Hussein.
Et avant de poursuivre ce journal, rappelons que vous pouvez nous suivre en direct sur la page Facebook de Canal 2 International. La riposte contre la Covid-19 s'accentue à l'université grâce au fonds Covid. C'est une manne affectée par l'État à cette structure afin de l'arrimer aux normes de lutte contre la pandémie, soit une enveloppe de 303 millions de francs CFA. Les détails dans ce reportage signé Eringele.
Des microscopes, stéthoscopes, un semi-automate de biochimie et bien d'autres utilitaires. Le plateau technique du centre médico-social de l'université de Ngaoundéré sort de ses carences grâce au fonds Covid. Ce fonds spécial affecté ici par l'État a également permis d'augmenter la capacité d'accueil du CMS des COPS de Don pour une meilleure prise en charge des cas de Covid-19.
Dans ce bloc-là, il y aura de nouvelles pièces. On aura une salle d'accueil, il y aura un laboratoire, une grande salle d'observation. Donc le matériel que vous avez là va permettre donc au personnel de mieux travailler.
L'année dernière, quand on avait fait les reprises de cours au mois de juin, on avait surtout ceux qui sont à la cité U, on avait essayé de dépister, on a eu certains cas.
Il faut ajouter à cela la réhabilitation des préfabriqués, du gymnase transformé en salle de cours, des infrastructures dotées des toilettes dans lesquelles la distanciation sociale se veut de rigueur. L'université de Ngaoundéré a aussi mis des dispositifs de lavage de mains aux entrées du campus et une police Covid veille au respect des mesures barrières et au port du masque.
De manière globale, on avait 12 petits marchés, tous sont déjà engagés, au moins 70% sont déjà exécutés, le reste est en cours d'exécution. Et pour la consommation globale de ce que l'université a eu, nous sommes autour de 80%. Le reste surtout, c'est les ITS que l'État devrait donner au personnel et tout. Donc ça, là, on est en train de suivre.
303 millions de nos francs ont été affectés à l'université de Ngaoundéré au titre des fonds Covid. 80% ont jusqu'ici été effectivement encaissés, soit près de 240 millions.
Le 5e anniversaire de riz à gogo s'est tenu ce week-end à Douala. Le grand événement du riz au Cameroun a célébré son anniversaire, le 5e du genre, lors d'un spécial spectacle donné où de nombreux jeunes humoristes en herbe se sont révélés au public. Moi, j'y ai pris part, personnellement, pour vous.
Des jeunes humoristes qui expérimentent la scène pour la première fois à Douala.
Le monsieur a fait 2 semaines à l'hôpital, j'ai risqué la prison. Mais par la grâce de Dieu, certains Camerounais m'ont soutenu. Les enfants de quoi? Il te dit ça c'est un show. Merci Didier. Tu es efficace. L'eau c'est la vie, mais le vin, c'est la vie éternelle.
L'édition spéciale anniversaire du concept riz à gogo fête ses 5 ans d'existence ce samedi 20 mars 2021 au cinéma L'Éden de Douala. Sur la scène se succèdent pour l'occasion des humoristes de renom, Défaut Premier, Talebak, Blaise Calaban et Bitakola, entre autres.
Depuis un bon moment, je fais le sport.
Cette édition spéciale de riz à gogo est parrainée par Dr Beka.
Puis, avec tout le travail fourni sur le terrain, je suis le parrain de riz à gogo, surtout quand il fait 5 ans d'existence. Et si vous avez remarqué aujourd'hui, il n'y avait pas les anciens sur le podium. Le spectacle a été tellement waouh, mais avec des jeunes. C'est-à-dire, riz à gogo est là pour promouvoir l'humour, pour promouvoir les jeunes pour faire découvrir les talents.
L'événement s'est tenu dans le strict respect des mesures barrières anti-Covid, le port du masque obligatoire et la présence d'une ambulance médicalisée imposée par le comité d'organisation.
Et la suite est avec vous, Henri Kédian.
Well, thanks, Junior. Barely 2 weeks to the April 4th, 2021 election of representatives of traditional rulers of the Menwa division in the West region. The elections board has met to actually finalize things. In fact, they met for their second session on Monday to adjust some of the issues ahead of this election. 2 lists headed by 2 second-class chiefs will be competing for the race, as we hear from you, Beatrice Ngamo in Yaoundé.
On the 4th of April 2021, election of the representatives of traditional rulers for Menwa Division West Regional Council will take place. Important, therefore, for all dispositions to be in place for a free and fair game. The focus of the session as of right by the Electoral Board of Elections Cameroon Elecam via video conference under the chairman Eno Abraham Egwe with parties Monday in Yaoundé. Their discussion centered on the evaluation of the state of preparedness at the electoral circumscription in order to review as needed all the ultimate adjustments before the polls, alongside examination and adoption of resolutions in line with the composition of a regional supervisory commission. Though a noble mission, it is also demanding with numerous challenges, and so to ensure a more closer general supervision, a mission headed by the Vice President, by board members from the West region, will go on the field to ensure proper organization and follow up until the proclamation of results. The election of representative of traditional rulers of Menwa was cancelled by the administrative bench of the Supreme Court on grounds that it did not respect the socio-political components of the region as well as gender aspects, as stated in section 246/1 of the Electoral Code. 2 lists headed by 2 second-class chiefs are in for the race. That of His Royal Highness Sidiye Gabriel and that of His Royal Highness Ningtezem Arbe. Both lists has 3 names each. And on Easter Sunday, April the 4th, 2021, one of these lists of 3 traditional rulers will carry the day.
Well, Chief Correspondent Beatrice Ngamo reporting there from Yaoundé, and top officials have been tasked, or top police officials have been tasked to combat increasing insecurity or security challenges in the country, while the Delegate General for National Security, Martin Ngele, tasked the officials during the installation to make sure they carry out a cordial relationship with the population. They were appointed following the presidential decree on March 18. Hyson Chair reports.
Committed into their functions, this Monday, the newly appointed top police officials at the Delegation General for National Security were reminded that they are gaining promotion at a time the country is boiling with insecurity imposed by the Boko Haram insurgencies in the far north, rebel activities in Adamawa and East regions, and the socio-political crisis in the northwest and southwest regions. The Delegate General for National Security, Martin Bargangele, equally pulled their attention on the rising theft and relative crime waves in major cities like Yaoundé and Douala. Thus, he urged them to deploy all necessary strategies to curb the challenges, do general mobilization with total commitment and full availability to maintain peace and public order in the entire territory, and institute confidence in the population, with many already living in fear. A task the administrators are ready to overcome despite the difficulties.
It will be a new experience for me, but I hope that with the help of my collaborators at this work, will be up to the task.
Martin Bargangele also used the opportunity to caution the entire police corps to be exemplary citizens and ensure the respect of human rights in the exercise of their duties. Preach by example, respect the rights of citizens, exhibit discipline, loyalty and professionalism. The agents of law and order We're also called upon to collaborate frankly with administrative authorities to intensify sensitization and the respect of barrier measures against the dreaded COVID-19.
Hyacinth Chia reporting there. Thanks very much, Hyacinth. And we move forward with political observers and civil society actors who now continue to question the death of the mayor of Njombe Penja, Paul Erikinge. Now they describe him as an emblematic, controversial, critical figure, while political analysts have described him as such. He is a man that brought changes on the political landscape. More in they report.
Described as a controversial, emblematic, outspoken, critical, a fighter, this is the image most politicians and civil society actors hold of the former mayor of the Njombe Penja Council, Paul Erikinge, who gave up the ghost in the early hours of Monday, March 22, 2021.
One of those persons who drew my attention to the changing political landscape with his outings, and he seemed to have a mind of his own, and he doesn't subject himself to party discipline.
The vibrant mayor at 55 will also be remembered for inspiring and fighting for a political change in Cameroon. Political analysts describe him as one who remains critical of the Biya regime and will later enter into a political partnership with Maurice Kamto. He was first arrested in 2018 after the hunger strike and only got his freedom 7 years later and was again sent back to jail in 2019. His fights in the political landscape put him at the helm of the Njombe Penja Council after more than a decade.
He seemed to care about the community he was living in and wanted to do the best for that community. That was my reading of him. And so he borrows a page from President John Magufuli of Tanzania. He is one of those persons who didn't seem to believe in the fact that we have to continue to do things the way we've been doing them for donkey years, and he thought and believed that things could be better, and he tried to demonstrate that in his short life.
His death has been described as shocking. To many, he's gone too soon, leaving behind many unfinished projects. A fighter, they say, might be gone, but his legacy lives on, politicians cried out.
Well, thanks very much, Maureen D. May. So rest in peace. And we talk another obituary. Well, the agricultural engineer and activist Bernard Jongang, who died on February 21, was finally laid to rest in his native home of Bangwa in the west region of Cameroon. Ambo Gladys reports.
It was a bitter pill to swallow for families and friends who had answered present to accompany the agricultural engineer Bernard Jongang to his resting place in his native Bangwa village in the west region of Cameroon this March 20, 2021. During testimonies that preceded the church service, the industrialist was described as a courageous, open, daring, amicable, and charismatic man. Apart from being an agricultural engineer, Bernard Jongang was also an activist and politician. He spent all his life protecting peasant farmers and the royal world and revealed the scandal surrounding the Sonalika tractors abandoned and left to rot in the bush at Ebolowa in the south region of the country. We cannot tolerate that we have the possibilities of fabricating tractors and we allow them to dilapidate in the bush. It is not serious. This is happening while women are suffering, tilling the soil in a bid to increase yields. This is what Bernard Jongang has been fighting for. We can do something and we have been assisting him to obtain this goal. This is ethical. The ceremony was chaired by the representative of the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Gabriel Mbairobi, who posthumously decorated him with the National Order of Valor. Bernard Jongang was founder of the Support Service for Local Development Initiatives, SAIL, founder of Citizen Association for the Defense of Collective Interests, ADIC, and publisher of La Voix du Paysan. His memories and works will always remain engraved in the minds of
the agricultural world.
May his soul rest in peace. And that item brings us to the end of this bilingual edition of the news on Canal International. Having Kejan Henry and Junior Hussein, we thank you for graciously watching and keep watching programs on Canal International. Junior, goodbye.
Et c'est donc la fin du 13h sur Canal 2 International. Merci à tous de nous avoir regardés. Souvenez-vous, le journal c'est également en direct sur la page Facebook de Canal 2 International, le 13h et le 19h50. Merci, portez-vous bien, au revoir.